so much birth control in Africa, so many vaccinations that they're using as a pretext to make every black woman in Africa sterile, every black man in Africa sterile. Did you see the news today? Today, no. Today, the United States government reportedly has designed a vaccination for Ebola. Today,
wow.
Today, the white man claims he has a vaccination for the Ebola virus, a virus that he created, by the way. You follow me?
Yeah.
That vaccination ain't going to do nothing but inject black women with chemicals that make it hard for them to conceive children. And it's going to inject black men with chemicals that's going to make it hard for them to impregnate our women. Population control, interest rate, and number three, probably the most dangerous, and they're all equally dangerous, is what we call structural adjustment programs. Structural adjustment programs mean that if we give you this money, you must operate your economy under a free trade market. What does that mean? That means if I'm in Guinea, and in Guinea we have oil, our own oil. So I want to create a national oil company. I'm going to protect our oil so we can give our own people jobs and so we can raise money for our own economy, right?
Right.
The white man is going to say, you cannot protect oil, meaning you cannot keep out competition. You have to let Exxon oil come in, and you got to let Mobil oil come in. You got to let Shell oil come in. You got to let Amco oil come in. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you have to compete in your own country. In your own country, you have to compete with outsiders for an industry that should be totally controlled by the government. But because you took that money, they allow outsiders to come in, compete with you, undermine you. And guess what happens 5-10 years after you allow the other oil companies to come into Guinea and compete with you? You know what happens? They sabotage you. And how do they sabotage Guinea's national oil company? Because they can sell their oil cheaper than yours. They can refine their oil cheaper than yours. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Guinea can't compete with them because they have technologies that we haven't been able to develop because of the lack of economic empowerment. So before you know it, Guinea doesn't even do oil no more. And all the people in Guinea have to buy their oil from the white man when their country has their own oil. This is why Africa has to stop valuing democracy over development. And let me clarify what I mean by that. I'm not against democracy, but democracy only works if the people voting are informed. The reason the white man loves democracy is because in a democracy, the person in charge will change office at some point, whether it's 4 years, 6 years, 10. He has to leave. Why is that good for the white man? Because if Africa gets a head of state that is not docile and dependent on the white man, not afraid of the white man, the next election, they can pay for that election. They can sabotage that election. They can rig that election to put anybody in that they want. Do you follow me?
Yes.
That's why the white man loves democracy. Because if you're president of Guinea and you're not doing what Donald Trump wants, you're not doing what the Queen of England wants, you're not doing what the president of France wants, it's okay. He'll be out of office in 2 years, and we can finance somebody who we want in office to replace him. Most people in the world, black, white, Chinese, Mexican, Arab, most people are not politically educated. They vote for people who look good. They vote for people who make them feel good. Black people voted for Barack Obama because he made us feel good. Do you understand? This is how most people operate in the world. This is why the white man loves democracy, because democracy is a popularity contest. Democracy is not a production contest. It's not a principle contest. It's not a progressive contest. It's a population contest, right? So whoever gets the most money spent on their campaign will win the election 90% of the time. That is a global fact. 90% of the people who spend the most money on the election will win, which automatically makes democracy a what? A system of the rich. It's supposed to be a system of the poor, isn't it? It's supposed to be a system of the people, isn't it? But as long as people can get funded for their elections, democracy will always be a tool of the rich. That's why the white man comes to Africa pushing democracy. One more question. Go ahead, beloved.
Yeah, I have one more question. Well, actually, it's not a question, but I feel like since I'm moving to the United States and I start watching the videos, yeah, I feel like I just wake up, all the core black consciousness come out of my mind. And I realize the real power that as a black person I have, So I just want to say thank you for all the videos that I was watching on YouTube.
Thank you, brother.
Helping me around,
Question.
Because many African. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, because in Africa, there's many places where we don't have those access to watch people like you on YouTube, So we don't have the information. We don't really know what's going on. But by coming in the United States, you start seeing these things or how black people are treated in the United States, it makes you realize that, maybe the white men that are coming to our country are not telling us the truth, because in Africa, what they say to us is, no, you guys are the greatest, and black people from the United States, they have no culture, they have no respect, like they're doing everything bad, they're using drugs, Once I came in the United States and I started watching your videos, I started talking to many other brothers from this country, I realized that everything they were saying to me is not true. Like they've been lied to us for many, many years.
Thank you, brother. Quick question before I let you go. The young brother I saw with you earlier, is that your son or your brother? The young brother. I thought I saw a little child in the room with you. Did I?
No, that's my wife.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's your wife. Do y'all have children?
No.
No children. Okay. I was only asking that because if that was a child, I was going to say y'all definitely need to come to the Black Parent School to Prison Pipeline Intervention Conference. It's going to be in Dallas, Texas on May the 6th. It's going to be 12 hours. 12 hours. 8 in the morning to 8 at night.
Yes.
It's going to be paperwork. And in those 12 hours, we're going to teach you everything you need to know, because one day y'all going to have children, God willing, and y'all need to know how to protect that child. So we're going to go through the disabilities. We're going to go through mental health. We're going to go through special ed, IEP, evaluation, change of placement, manifestation. A lot of what I'm saying, you never even heard of it. But in those 12 hours, you're going to learn everything you need to know to protect your children. The training in Texas is in Dallas on May 5th, and y'all can register for it on my website, drumarjohnson.com. We also have training in every state. Our first training is going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana, February the 2nd. We have Moss Point, Mississippi, April 18th. We also have Washington, D.C., February the 8th. This is for the listeners as well. But go to my website, anyone watching this live, and if you're ready to register, we have 5 states up, and we're going to be doing all 50 states. So all of y'all who need that training, go to drumarjohnson.com. It will not be broadcast. You must be there in person. You must be there in person. But my brother, I want to thank you, my brother.
Now,
stay in touch with me, man. And I hope to see y'all in Dallas on May the 5th.
I will be there. One more question, my brother.
Sure.
Yeah, so with all these things that you were saying in many interviews, is there any solution? Do you think like one day we all African black people from around the world will become together?
The solution is education and economics. Education and economics. Education. We have to prepare the children to accept the responsibilities of the liberation struggle. Most African children in the world are not being raised to be loyal to their people's need for liberation. They're being raised to be coons and Negroes. They're being raised to go and work for the white man. Literally, they're being raised to worship a white Jesus. So we have to educate the children. Without the children, there's no future. That's why I'm building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Without the children, there's no future. That's education. Economics, to keep our families together. Economics, to keep black men out of jail. Economics, to fight against black on black crime. You follow me? Economics, to finance the revolution. Economics and education. Economics and education, those are the things that we must focus upon. We get those two together, the rest is easy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Umar Johnson. Thank you very much.
Take care, brother. All right. God bless you. I'm backstage, Pontiac, Michigan. The Prince of Pan-Africanism is in the building. International Ifa Tunde, the #1 voice of black consciousness of the 21st century in the world. The #1 certified school psychologist, black in American history. I am here, Pontiac, Michigan, backstage. We got a powerful interview coming up in a few. If you in the area, get here. Detroit, get here. Flint, Big Rapids, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Lansing. I am in the building. I am here. And then Jackson, Mississippi. I heard Jackson, Mississippi going to be packed out. If you're coming to Jackson, Mississippi, make sure you get there earlier. If you're coming to Kwanzaa Day 1, Thursday, December the 26th, Jackson, Mississippi, get there early. It's going to be packed. It's a free event. Free event. Get there early because it's going to be packed. Orlando, Florida, Friday, December the 27th. Orlando, Florida, Friday, December the 27th. Children and elders free. Get your tickets at drumarjohnson.com. Pahokee, Florida, Saturday, December the 28th. Pahokee, Florida, Saturday, December the 28th. Free event. Detroit, Michigan, Monday, December the 30th. Charles Wright Museum. Free event. If you live in Louisiana, the training, the National Black Parent Know Your Rights training for the state of Louisiana will be held in New Orleans, Saturday, February the 2nd. I repeat, if you live in or near the state of Louisiana, your training will be in New Orleans on Saturday, February the 2nd. Get your tickets at drumarjohnson.com. If you live in Washington, D.C. or Maryland, if you live in Washington, D.C. or Maryland, if you live in Washington, D.C., Maryland, or Northern Virginia, your training in Washington, D.C. will be on February the 8th. Get your tickets at drumarjohnson.com. If you live in Mississippi, your National Black Parent Know Your Rights training will be on Saturday, April the 18th in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Okay? If you live in Oklahoma City, if you live in Oklahoma, the training for Oklahoma State will be in Oklahoma City on Saturday, March the 21st. Get your tickets at drumarjohnson.com. And I'm leaving somebody out. Hold on. I'm leaving the city out. Cleveland. Cleveland tickets should be up if you live in Ohio. If you live in Ohio, your training will be in Cleveland, and that registration will be up at drumarjohnson.com, hopefully Monday. Okay? That's Cleveland. Chicago, we working on you. Chicago, we working on you. Chicago, we working on you. Mississippi, Oklahoma, Washington, D.C., Louisiana, D.C., Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Texas. Dallas, Texas, May 2nd. If you live in the state of Texas, your training will be in Dallas, May 2nd. I will take a few more questions. Janny Bags going once. Janny Bags going twice. Janny Bags. Cancel Janny Bags. My views on interracial children have never changed. They're consistent. A mixed-raced African, a so-called mixed-raced African, is an African until they demonstrate otherwise. My rule for mixed-race African is no different than it is for full-blooded African. You are my brother or sister until you prove otherwise. You must be biologically black and psychologically black. You must be biologically black and psychologically black. Well, listen,
I know. But yeah,
I need you to get me out there. I ain't been to Hawaii yet. We got to make it happen.
bro, I'd be stoked to see you speak out here. That'd be super cool, man.
Set it up. I'm ready for that. We got to do that black parent training out there.
Yeah, man, for sure.
What's on your mind today, King? What's on your mind today?
Anyhow, well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about like your school and what your intentions with your school was, and also like obviously as you can tell, like I'm 40% white, 40% black, and like just kind of being out here, you know what I mean? Like there's not that much of a black community out here. There's definitely, it's growing, like as of late in this day and age, there's a lot more African American people out here, but I think like from being out here, my perspective on the things, like the problems as far as like, you know, police brutality, things like that you just see on the media, stuff like that. Like I feel pretty strongly about it, and I feel really strongly about our people. Like I'm reading an autobiography on Malcolm X right now, just like trying to educate myself on what's real. You know what I mean? That's why I found your page. I found your page off of an interview, and I thought you were speaking some really interesting shit. But honestly, as like somebody like you look at me like I'm not 100% African or whatever, and I've never been to Africa, so. But I feel like really strongly about my people, and I just want to know like what is your whole idea? Like what do you feel about like me? Like if I was to come to a rally and speak on some sort of an issue, you know what I mean? Would you give me validation if my points were
so
valid?
first of all, let me jump in. Good question. First of all, you must not be very familiar with my work. And the reason I say that, good brother, because I am very, very consistent and clear on my position as it relates to mixed race Africans. I see you no different than I see any full-blooded African. Do you understand?
Okay.
The blood in your veins is what makes you African. That's why the most honorable Marcus Garvey put the red on top of the black and then the green. The red on top of the black and then the green, because it is the blood that makes you an African.
Yeah.
In African DNA, African genes are dominant. We are the most dominant human family in the world because we are the chosen people.
Yeah.
Being chosen has nothing to do with what religion you belong to. That's a myth. The chosen people have nothing to do with a religion. It has nothing to do with being Muslim. It has nothing to do with being Hebrew. It has nothing to do with being Christian. The original man and woman of this planet, the African, we are the chosen people. And as the chosen people, our DNA predominates over anyone else. So if I made a child with a white woman, that child is African.
Facts.
If a black woman makes a baby with a white man, that child is an African. You understand? So for me, I don't have any issue. That's why red, it's the blood that makes you black. Red, black, then green. And the reason green is at the bottom, because knowing you're African and going to Africa is important. as a Pan-Africanist, repatriation is central to what we do, going back home. But even if you never go back home, Africa is inside of you. Africa is in you. You take Africa with you. She is as much a energy as she is a continent, you see.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a Chinese person, a Chinese American may have never been to China. He's still Chinese.
Yeah.
A European Jew may have never been to Israel. He's still a Jew. Do you understand? Mexican may have never been to Mexico. That don't stop you from being who you are because it's in your blood. It's in your DNA. Your ancestors are within you. Can't nothing stop that. But you, as an African brother,
a lot of my family members on my father's side were like Black Peace Stones back in the day, like sort of activists and stuff. And I just like last couple of years in my life, I've just felt really really strongly about shit. And somebody in the comments was like, "Why are you in Hawaii if that's the case?" Honestly, bro, like I was raised out here. Like I'm 21 years old. I gotta find my way to reach out to other places in the world, bro. But it doesn't change the fact on my views on things and how strongly I do feel about like political situations.
One of the things I'm going to do, not to cut you, one of the things I'm going to do once we continue to restore the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is I'm going to have a conference on the mixed race African, and I want all my mixed race Africans to come, and we're going to have a conversation and a dialogue for those who want to be down with their race. Now, for mixed race Africans who don't want to be Black, they want to act like they're white, they want to live white, we're not talking about them. We're talking about like you, who know they're African and don't want to be anything else other than African, and who are willing to live the code of Pan-Africanism. I want to have a conference to rehabilitate them back into the world. You understand?
Right. Thank you, man.
That's what we do.
I appreciate you. And I just wanted to have one more question. Actually.
Take my number too.
Somebody in the comments was talking about your school. He's kind of talking down, and I was thinking about it because I watched your last interview with the Breakfast Club, I believe it was, and you were talking about trying to get, I don't really remember the school of it or whatnot, but or the name of the school or whatnot, but you said that it was like the lowest prices of like some of the buildings for you to be able to purchase was about $1.2 million.
Yes.
And you raised about $750,000. I think somebody in the comments was just kind of talking his shit, and I think it's just, bro, like it's a lot more than what it is. I'm sure your intentions are pure with that, and I think honestly that'll be a really solid starting point, a starting foundation for educating our younger youth.
Got you. Yes, sir, my brother. Take my number. I want you to take my cell number.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because I want you to stay in touch with me because I want to come to Hawaii. I've never been out there.
Okay.
I'm going to bring the Black Parent Training Conference out there.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
215.
215. Hold on. I thought this phone was charged. Give me one second.
No problem.
All right. This will do. Let's see. 215
989
989
9858.
9858. All right, man. I appreciate it so much.
Shoot me a text. I'm gonna lock you in as well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I'll be sending that shortly. Thank you so much for your work, man. I appreciate you.
All right. Let me say this before I take another question. And make sure y'all donating to the Cash App. In fact, if you donate right now, I'm going to shout you out. Go to your Cash App and donate to the school. $FDMG School. Go to the Cash App and donate to the school. $FDMG School. And I'm going to shout you out. All right? But I got something I want to say. Patrick Mazie, $5. Thank you, Brother Patrick. Come on in. Princess, what's good?
We're going to move you in like 2 minutes.
In like 2 minutes? Give me 5 instead. All right? I'm ready for you then. Corey Sims. Shout out to Corey Sims. India Thomas, donation. Shout out to Sister India. Where them donations at? Send them through. But what I wanted to say was, Don't come to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy disrespecting our mixed race African brothers and sisters. They got it hard enough as it is. Okay? I've been a therapist of mixed race children. They got it hard enough. That's not the energy at my school. If you come to my school, any event we have, and you disrespect a mixed race African, you're going to get a lifetime ban like half them coons on YouTube. They will never be allowed to attend that school for any function the rest of their life. If you disrespect one of those mixed race African brothers and sisters, I will ban your ass too. Now I got to get ready, $ FDMG school. Where them donations at? There we go. There we go. Tiffany Griffin. Shout out to Sister Tiff, Ifa Tunde University. Shout out